Hey guys, as always, thanks for stopping by. Life without the police. Yep, let's talk about that. Today's episode is brought to you by Goat Guns. You can find them over at goatguns.com. Miniature models at a 1:3 scale. They've got Barretts, ARs, AKs, bullpups, and much, much more. Same day shipping and a 100% buyback guarantee. Pick out what you want and then you get to assemble it. My favorite is the Mini SVD. Pick out your favorite over at goatguns.com. I'll put a link right down below. Hey, to all of y'all walking through this scamdemic with me, a big thumbs up to y'all, and thank y'all for every thumbs up. They are all appreciated. I really do appreciate that. Every comment down below is important. Today's episode really is an opportunity for you to comment. I have some questions for y'all, and all those comments do help things. Every thumbs up is a huge help, and all of the subscriptions are a help as well. So thanks. Life without the police, sending out an SOS. That's a tough one because it looks like right now people are serious about talking about defunding the police. And I want to talk to you a little bit about that. I keep these things on this channel under 10 minutes, usually right in the 7, 8, 9, 10. So we can't talk about all of it. It's a huge issue and it's much more than we can cover in one single episode. But I do want to hear what you have to say. Got a couple questions for you. I'm going to walk you through a couple ideas, and then hopefully we get to have a conversation about this. It looks like the testing grounds for defunding the police is going to be taking place in Seattle. It changes a little day to day. There's pushback on one side, pushback on the other. But they're serious about it, and they are still rioting in the streets. This past Saturday, there were 47 arrested. Probably should have been 447. But the Seattle Police Department arrested 47 just on Saturday. They were literally, and they used the words rioting in the streets. When the mainstream media moves from using the words protesting to rioting, you know it was serious. They burned stuff in the street. They broke windows. You saw it. It's absolutely crazy what's going on out there. Now, I think it's called the City Council. It is. The City Council has passed a couple ordinances in Seattle, and they have now taken away the tools from the police. No longer can they use riot shields or riot batons to help with crowd control. They now have to go out with their words. Use your words, people. And there's been a little bit of pushback on that. The Seattle Police Chief, Carmen Best, she's been very clear about where she stands with this whole idea of taking tools away from her officers, as well as defunding the police and taking probably what looks like 50% down in their annual budget. And these calls are going on nationwide. I talked the other day about the Breathe Act. That's one of the main tenets of the Breathe Act, is to defund the police. And BLM, the Black Lives Matter movement, one of their main tenets is to defund the police as well. This is not without pushback. There are people that are fighting it. There are people that are rational that go, you know what, that's maybe a little bit crazy. There was a piece just yesterday in the Seattle Times. It was an op-ed piece that called the defunding of the police reckless, and taking away their tools as reckless and just irresponsible. And so people are arguing about this and talking about this. It looks like, and what people are talking about is moving to a place, and they did this during the scamdemic over the last several months in some cities, where they move it to different categories where the police only respond to violent crimes. But if it's smaller crimes like shoplifting or smaller things than that, your neighbors, standing in your front yard doing nonsense, as long as they don't harm your physical person, the police are not going to come. We're now on our own. Now, the 2A folks already know what that feels like. We already know what it feels like to take care of our own safety and to, in many ways, protect ourselves. And we come down to a basic tenet that a lot of folks don't understand. And in many ways, it is the very point of this video. A lot of folks don't understand this. The police are not responsible for protecting you. And this is not some crazy thing that I came up with. The Supreme Court has made multiple rulings, and they have withheld those rulings or upheld those rulings multiple times over decades, that the police are not responsible to protect you. That's not my idea. That is straight from the Supreme Court. Warren versus DC is one. I'll put a link to that one right down below. There's another one called Castle Rock versus Gonzales, and that's, once again, the Supreme Court upholding that the police don't have to protect you. That one was specifically about the enforcement of restraining orders, and it releases the liability or responsibility, the onus of police forces nationwide having to enforce restraining orders. So my question of the day for all of y'all is, what should it look like? In an age and a time right now when they are calling for defunding police, 50% reduction in police forces, and possibly only enforcing violent crime laws, and the rest we're up for ourselves. Where does that leave you? What do you think? My opinion is it puts even more pressure on us, more responsibility on us to protect our own families, and that's why the Founding Fathers gave us the Second Amendment. We come down to the point where part of the Second Amendment is about tyrants, but the other part is about self-protection, self-preservation, and enabling ourselves to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So what would you think? What do you think life without the police would look like? I think that's an absolute mess. The idea of to serve and protect, that's from an old PR campaign. That's nowhere in law. That's not really what the police are for. And it's a really, really challenging situation, especially when we have a very vocal minority calling for this and city councils that are willing to fall down that rabbit hole of saying, yep, let's take away police funding. Good luck to Carmen Best out in Seattle. She is fighting a fight that I would not want to fight, and it's a tough, tough situation. We'd really like to hear your opinion to anybody wanting to take away our freedoms, our way of life, or my ability, or your ability to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness from my cold, dead hands. Bye.